Hi, Belinda. Can you hear us?
Hi. Yeah, how you going?
Yeah, good. Good to see you. Thanks for coming to the interview.
Happy. Thanks for being interested in something that I could probably talk about all day.
I just wanted to know what your main challenges at the moment, like communication challenges at the moment.
I think, if we look at from the clinical perspective of how we work with people who have communication problems, not everybody has access to technology. Not everybody can even get therapy via telehealth. So at the moment, all of our clinicians are working from home and seeing their clients using a telehealth, but they can't see everybody. So there are some kids who can't get therapy because they don't have devices. Some of our clients live with a grandparent. They aren't able to access services. So their development of their communication is kind of on pause. But in the current environment, it's a bit of a false communication. So we're interacting with other people, but not doing it in person is very different. When we interact with people in real situations in the community, we have a whole context. We can see where they are. We can see what's going on in their background. We can read their body language. When we're using Zoom, we don't even know where the other person's situated. We don't know anything about them. And you can't read all of their body language. You can't see how their hands are being used to communicate. So for people with communication problems, I would have to say that not all of them are getting equal access at the moment. It's much more difficult to communicate and use language in a group on using Zoom as opposed to talking in real life. It's very difficult. And I know that we're all using it for a purpose now. We use it for work or schooling, but we probably use it less so for social communication. Most of that now would be via text. So our social communication is not person to person. We're not kind of wired to not be social beings. So I have to say some of that, the mental health challenge that people are having is from lack of social contact and good social communication.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely a strange environment to adapt to, and nothing like I've ever seen before or had to go through before. And it must be quite a new thing to adapt to for you as well, Belinda, I'm guessing, because I read you've been doing this since 1995. Why did you want to become a speech pathologist in the first place anyway?
I think when I started, it wasn't as well known as a profession as it is now. When I enrolled in the course, I didn't really even understand what they did. I wanted to work in allied health and got into speech pathology and thought, well, I'll do it for a while. And if it's not my thing, I'll change to another allied health type of profession. But as it turned out, it was perfectly matched because I love science and I loved English and literature, and both of those disciplines kind of meet somewhere in the middle. And I think in the second year of university, once we started working with clients, I think I realised straight away that that was exactly what I wanted to do. I just didn't know it when I enrolled. And I've never tired of any of the work in aged care with young kids. I was fortunate enough to do some work on a research project for youth injustice because we know that people with communication problems are overrepresented in the justice system. I've never tired of it because it always changes. For me, it's understanding the impact it has on people and limiting their opportunity and access. And without rights to communicate, people, don't get equality. You probably wouldn't even need to go past your immediate family to find someone who has been impacted by difficulties with communication access. So the passion continues to be driven by seeing need everywhere I go. In the profession, as you get to, you get further along in your career, you also see that need to impart the knowledge that you've learned to some of the students that are coming through now and early career speech pathologists. so that, they'll continue to do that when I'm retired and out of the profession. Culture is crucial. When we're training speech pathologists, we respect cultural diversity and linguistic diversity. When I work with Indigenous families, I am respectful that there are nuances in their communication that we don't change, that we don't aim to change. We don't want to be seen to changing a culture and a communication that should actually be respected and encouraged. I think what we're trying to get better at is working with communities on improving access and improving communication that's respectful of difference. We also respect signing. If someone uses pictures or a typing device to communicate, that we respect that, and we don't kind of hold one form of communication superior to another.
What are the realistic goals for therapy for now, or in the future?
When it comes to goal setting, it always has to be a kind of a mutual agreement. So the client comes with their needs and their wants, and then as a clinician, we're trying to meet them in the middle to, okay, well, what might be the first step towards that? It might be that someone would be happy if they could order a coffee in the community independently. And really what we aim to do is to improve capacity and improve people's access. But the goals always come from the individual.
Do you work with children predominantly, or people who English isn't their first language?
Well, we have in our clinic, we're quite diverse. Probably a greater percentage of our work is with pediatrics, so preschool and school age kids, but we also have adults with intellectual or physical disabilities, adults with neurological problems who might have lost the ability to communicate, people who've had a traumatic brain injury and are kind of relearning their communication. My background, loving literature and writing, I kind of brought that love on board. And when I was having a family in the early 2000s and had some time off work while I wasn't doing clinical work, I was spending that time writing programs and writing resources that we use with the kids in the clinic.
One of the things to focus on was obviously just focus on Speech Pathology Week coming up from the 22nd to the 28th from Speech Pathology Australia that I read you were a director of at one point.
Yep. So for 6 years, I served on the board of directors and 4 years as vice president, both in communications and operations, which was, a great opportunity to kind of look at how the profession was working together as a whole across Australia. And it also towards I think it was in my last year, I had the opportunity to go to the UN in New York for the Conference of Rights for People with a Disability, and was able to present a speech at the UN on communication accessibility. And it was so positive and great that it's not communication disability is now seen as a disability in its own right. So yeah, the time that I spent on the board of directors really afforded me a chance to speak at some global conferences.
If someone like me wanted to improve my communication right now, what would you recommend, or the steps to take?
If you can easily identify what is it that's holding me back, contact a speech pathologist. And Speech Pathology Australia has a search section on their website so people can find someone close by.
I read you had a busy caseload when you began your practice in Penrith in 1995. You had a lot of clients, quite suddenly, would you say?
Yeah, so I know when I first started, I said to my mum, "Oh, Mum, I've started this business. What will I do if I never get another referral? What am I going to do if I don't get any clients?" And fortunately, that didn't happen. So over those years, the business has grown. We're still in Penrith near Nepean Hospital, and now we have 6 other speech pathologists, and I have 3 occupational therapists. you develop a real sense of community when you're in that same area for a long period of time, and the need continues to grow. We need more students, particularly in the Western Sydney and Blue Mountains and regional and rural areas, to take it up as a profession. We need more speech pathologists, and that need is going to continue to grow. We can only meet the need of people with communication issues if we have enough staff. In the area, there's definitely a huge need. If we advocate for communication rights, those who don't have it all the time will be able to get it.
We'll talk to you soon. We'll keep you posted.
Okay.